You're welcome back. This is Newsfile. It's your most authoritative news analysis platform, and here on Newsfile we put Ghana first. And we are continuing the discussion, the demand for clean water and the demand for clean politics as the NPP hit the streets in the course of this week to demand. But topmost on the minds of every Ghanaian, and I can also say even some non-Ghanaians, is Galamsey, illegal mining, and the havoc it is wreaking on this nation. My guests right here in the studio, Victoria Bright, international corporate lawyer and entrepreneur, Kokode-Nwamase, Executive Director, Institute for Energy Policy and Research. He's also a member of the NPP communication team. Sharif Mahmoud Khalid, Economic Advisor to the Vice President. Professor Sharif. For those of you who have come on social media and are just fighting us, somebody made a post that said, "You guys are so biased. Why is it that everybody you have put their title on, but when it comes to Sharif, you haven't put his title on?" Sharif is not interested in titles. He's that kind of person, okay? So if you don't see his title there, not seeing his title there doesn't take his PhD away from him. We are also joined by Senyor Hosi, who is convener, One Ghana Movement, and trustee of the Ghana Coalition Against Galamsey. In the course of the week, he poured his heart out. He spoke in a way you could literally pick a knife and cut through his pain about the way the Galamsey fight is being handled. Dr. Albert Kobina-Mensah is scientist, CSIR, Soil Research Institute, adjunct lecturer, UMAT, author, Soil Pollution and Remediation. Also joining us is Professor Dr. Paul Poku-Sampenio-Say. You remember him? He helped us to unlock the evidence to the fact that Galamsey was the cause of babies that are being born with deformities. And he was with us not long ago, sharing some of the evidence of his research with us. He's forensic histopathologist and former head of Department Pathology, SMD, KNUST, and Komfanochi Teaching Hospital. SMD is the School of Medical Sciences. He's a researcher and an author of over 80 publications in highly esteemed reviewed journals. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for making time to join us on Newsfile this morning. Thank you.
Yeah.
Right. So, where do we start from? I'm thinking, maybe, Vicky, what do you make of the revived fight? We got to this point of the fight in the election campaign period, where then you had TUC, you had UTAG, you had almost everybody come on board and insist that there should be a declaration of a state of emergency. At the time we were talking, in the central region, River Pra, when they checked the turbidity level of that water, that's how bad that water had become with metals and it cannot be used. It was 14,000 NTU. Today, as we speak, the turbidity level at the Ayensu River in the central region is 94,800. Last year, we were talking about Pra at 14,000.
14 or 40?
14,000.
1-4.
Yes, 1-4.
Okay.
So today we are talking about 94,000 NTU. What do you make of the revive fight? The Democracy Hub, we're on the street, other people are threatening demonstrations if the president does not declare a state of emergency.
Well, I am very, very excited about that fight. I feel very, very strongly about it, like every Ghanaian. And I feel that we can no longer afford to do anything else than have the president declare a state of emergency. It's the only signal that will match the scale of the crisis. Because we've gone beyond, we've done everything. MPP tried, NDC tried, NDC is still trying, and I know the president is passionate about it. People have died. We lost very fine gentlemen. And yet, here we are. 14,000, as you said last year, just last year, 2024. And 2025 is not yet over. 9 months later, look at where we are.
94,800.
94,800. And I mean, it's like, I was reading about this turbidity levels.
Is the reason there's a community, they don't have water?
They don't have water. And I saw this lady fetching this brown and putting her own alum in it. I mean, is it even sufficient to keep her safe? Just to bath. Forget about drinking. You know, so I think that I was concerned because...
Beyond sufficiency of the alum use, is it safe?
Is it safe?
The amount of water she was boiling and the amount of alum she would put in.
Yes. Is it actually going to protect her? Maybe mentally, yes. Psychologically, she feels I'm doing something. But why should she be reduced to that? You know, so I think we can no longer exhaust regular tools. The only thing we can do, the only signal to illegal miners is this. And as far as I'm concerned, if you are chasing grid-co engineers, you are chasing officials, ministers in these illegal mining sites, then you are declaring war on the state. And we have to declare war right back. We have to declare war right back. I mean, look at the public health implications. I think we've gone beyond discussing all these figures. It's now a public health emergency.
Right.
It's a public health emergency. Food security is threatened. Water security is threatened. Even our pharmaceutical industry, as we learned from the boss of the Pharmaceutical Society, is being threatened. And at the moment, we are not even doing enough. Only 30% or so of our drugs are manufactured by us. Surely we must be looking to improve this figure, not make it worse. So, and water is a key part of pharmaceutical production. So, I mean, fisheries, now if you eat your kenke pepper and fish, you don't even know the corn will be polluted, the fish is polluted. So what are we eating? Cocoa production. Cocoa production, which has been the bedrock, one of the bedrocks of our economy, it has been threatened to a point where cocoa farmers are yielding their crops to, you know, in fact, one of my acquaintances, let me say, was complaining because he was trying to do a fish farm, and apparently he was booted out by illegal miners, and he had spent a lot of money on this fish farm. You know, so they have this power, this self-arrogated power and audacity. The level of audacity is shocking. They are now armed to the hilt. I mean, it's a crisis.
So the farmers you talk about, what the evidence is that if they approach you to buy your farmland,
yes, he had
and
no choice.
You decide that you will not take it,
yes,
they will still go ahead.
They will still go ahead.
Yeah.
Anyway,
so you are better off taking the money.
The money and whatever they decide to give you. This is how audacious they've become.
That's terrorism.
It's terrorism. So we are being terrorized in our country. So I know that a state of emergency is a politically heavy tool for the president to deploy. But I believe that the president cares about this country. He loves Ghana. And I believe that he genuinely wants to do something about this thing. And I mean, some of the people very close to him, closest to him, actually died.
The Constitution talks about when a state of emergency may be declared and why.
Yes.
So let's see if we are there.
I believe
to now say there should be a state of emergency.
Yes, I believe we are.
Okay. It says that a declaration of a state of, okay, let me not go, Article 31. The President may, acting in accordance with the advice of the Council of State, and when the law says acting in accordance, when the Constitution says acting in accordance, it is binding. Acting in accordance with the advice of the Council of State by proclamation published in the Gazette, declare that a state of emergency exists in Ghana or in any part of Ghana for the purposes of the provision of this Constitution. Notwithstanding any other provision of this article, where a proclamation is published under Clause 1 of this article, the President shall place immediately before Parliament the facts, circumstances leading to the declaration of the state of emergency. Parliament shall, within 72 hours after being notified, decide whether the proclamation should remain in force or should be revoked, and the President shall act in accordance with the decision of Parliament. A declaration of a state of emergency shall cease to have effect at the expiration of a period of 7 days, that's 1 week, beginning with the date of publication of the declaration, unless before the expiration of that period it is approved by a resolution passed for that purpose by a majority of members of Parliament. Now, the circumstances under which a state of emergency may be declared under this article shall include: 1, a natural disaster, and any situation in which any action is taken or is immediately threatened to be taken by any person or body of persons, which is calculated or likely to deprive the community of essentials of life, or renders necessary the taking of measures which are required for securing the public safety, defense of Ghana, and the maintenance of public order and of supplies and services essential to life of the community. So the main purpose is stated here. Natural disaster include, that's not exhaustive, natural disaster or any situation in which any action is taken or is immediately threatened to be taken by any person or body of persons, which is calculated to deprive or likely to deprive the community of the essentials of life.
And that's where we are now. That's exactly where we are now, because these actions by these people is threatening the very essence of our being. It's threatening the nation, it's threatening you, it's threatening me. I mean, whether those who, I mean, I don't want to be rude, but those who say things like, oh, we will buy the water, we will import the... Are you not bathing every day? Are you going to use Kirkland water to bath every day? I mean, let's be real in this country. Every glass of water poisoned by arsenic that a child drinks is a slow death sentence for that child. Or whether it's lead, whether it's arsenic, whether it's mercury, it's a slow death sentence for that child. Not to mention those who are already being born deformed. I mean, you've messed up that child right from the word go. You know, and I don't understand why they have this audacity. I keep mentioning that word because I just can't believe it. We have national security. We have our political tools. We have our security tools. We have our security forces, and they are equipped. They are armed. You cannot tell me that these guys have more ammunition than the police and the military. You can't.
But now we know that our presidents are not sort of enthused about the call for a state of emergency. That's why we don't have one.
Well,
it's the president call. If he has, he wants to do it.
Well, I don't think, for me, the president does not have a choice, because we voted to be protected, to feel safe in this country. And I know he cares about that. And so he has tried so many things, like other presidents before him. He has tried. The guys, the gentlemen, the fine, very fine, some of Ghana's best who died, were on their way to doing something that he had tried to do. You see what I mean? So there have been many steps taken.
He says we are not there yet.
But I believe we are, because we can no longer afford to exhaust alternative tools.
If they have not been exhausted already. And I feel they have, because in fact that statistic alone that you mentioned at the beginning is that is the case. You know, we are lawyers. The president is supposed to be acting on the advice of the Council of State. So the Council of State, do you think they should take the bold step by going ahead to ask the president to do it, and he'll be bound by it?
I think the Council of State has to act. Yes, I think they should.
Why do you think they've also not been acting? They don't hear what is going on?
Well, I wonder. Everybody has heard what's going on, from Erastus's documentaries to just even reading Ghana Web or reading anything. I mean, this has become a war for the people. It's a war on the people, and the people are trying to declare a war back. But the people are powerless.
I return to you to ask whether you think that a security zone may not give us some sort of equivalence to a state of emergency, and so we should be fine with it.
And before that, Samson, I just wanted to say that the other thing a state of emergency does is to unite everyone.
Okay.
NDC, MPP, the chiefs, civil society, and all Ghanaians, because it is what it is. It gives drastic powers, and it's a direction, and everybody must follow. You don't have a choice.
You're a lawyer. The questions that are being raised is that once the place is declared a state of emergency, it means that law will not work within that place, and so people are likely to be shot and killed, and all sorts of things may happen.
But what is happening now? People are being shot and killed, Samson, and people are also slowly being killed. So, I mean, of course, the military have to exercise caution. Nobody wants anyone to just be killed wantonly. I think that is then a total abuse of human, and will defeat the purpose for actually declaring the state of emergency. So,
okay. Yes, Kojokoku.
Samson, I think I'll say good morning to my brother, Dr. Baumia, if he's watching or wherever he is, and a good thank you to the Eastern Region people for giving us a very big welcome a couple of days when Doctor was in the region. Now, that said, look, let's look at two things. In December, October last year, did Ghanaians think, and you mentioned in the beginning of your submission, did Ghanaians think that Galamsey was at a peak that was intolerable? Yes.
Definitely.
Because there were demonstrations. I even said that, why are people demonstrating in Accra and not demonstrating in the communities? And I was taken on, and the youth took to Twitter and everything. So at October, November, we thought Galamsey was at a peak that was intolerable.
And as we understand, you in Accra, you are more affected than those in those areas.
So we went to the polls, and Ghanaians changed government, okay? A new president came. Now, I want to now do a little bit of compare and contrast. In let's say, 9 months of Nana Addo's administration, MPP, in 2017, when he first came in and was faced with Galamsey, because Galamsey was a big topic when Nana Addo took over in 2017, when he was sworn in January. And I'll do a contrast with His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. When Nana Addo became president, in March 2017, he suspended small-scale mining across the country. Total suspension, okay? It was supposed to be for 6 months, went on till December 2018. So from March 2017 to December 2018, there was a total suspension on all mining activities, legal or non-illegal mining activities across the country. Obviously, the illegal ones, you can't stop them, they will still be doing it. Then in 31st July 2017, the Operation Vanguard was started. Then there was a 400-strong contingency of military and police to police and basically give effect to the ban. So nobody was to be seen doing any mining, be it legal or illegal. So that was in July 2017. Then there was the interministerial committee that was set up to gather information and to look at all these things. It gave results, right? The mining communities were crying. that, look, that's our livelihood, we are not getting money, and people keep saying that there's a cascaded effect, people who sell in those areas and all the economic implications.
The ban on small-scale mining lasted over 20 months.
Yes. And people, the civil society and everybody, the bishops, everybody started telling government to do something about it. So in 2019, it was brought back. Then what happened when we were going to the election 2020? The NDC went around the mining communities to tell them that, you see what they did to you. If we were to be in power, we will not do that to you. We will not stop the mining that they stopped. We will not let Operation Vanguard come in and do what they're doing. In fact, in the constituency of Jumoro, Jura, in Jura, for instance, there were 54 polling stations in Jura, and it's alleged in our MPP report that the candidate at the time who won that seat went around and told the people that community mining, which was proposed as an alternative to what they were doing, was fake and was not right. And it's alleged that it took the actor, Ejako, to go in there and told them that, no, community mining is a good thing, please come on board. But guess what? We lost 54 polling stations in Jura, and as a result, we lost the seat Evalo Jumoro, Jura. We lost that.
What's the point?
The point is that, I'll get there. I'm trying to get to you. I'm trying to get to point where we are now and why come the NDC cannot fight the Galamsey fight. And that's what.
Oh, really?
Yes. Now, you go to Upper Dentra. Upper Dentra West is a predominantly MPP seat, but it's a heavily mining area. We lost that seat for the first time in 2020. Why was that? Because, again, the Galamsey people were going around giving people money in that constituency to vote against MPP. So Nanado and the MPP had a very big fight. Nanado actually did a statement and said that, look, he will stake his presidency on fighting Galamsey. But then when we went to the polls in 2020, we lost majority of all our seats in the mining areas. Then we came into 2021. The fight continued, but you realize that it didn't have the same impetus as it had previously, because there was that dynamic whereby MPP is trying to do the right thing. NDC had gone in before the election to tell the people, look, vote us in and we will let you do what you want to do. That carried forward to 2024. Today, you fast forward, the NDC in Parliament is known for certificate of emergency. Right? They've done that, I think, they've done like 3 or 4 already in Parliament. Which of the things they say in their manifesto? AI to fight Galamsey, that has not been done. Legislation to fight Galamsey, that has not been done. In fact, of all the things they say in their manifesto on Galamsey, the only thing they've done is the gold board. None of the things they claim in their manifesto to do in the 9 months they've started. Equipment to fight Galamsey, nothing has been done. To even create dam banks to restrain
the blue water guards.
Sorry?
The blue water guards.
The blue water guards, I didn't see that in their manifesto. But look, if we took 400 military to the rivers and they didn't get anything done, those blue water guards in T-shirts, definitely with their small waist, ain't going to get it done. So let's not even kid ourselves what they can do, cannot do. But clearly something, the little they've done, let's say that, look, everybody will tell you, oh, President Mahama came in, he has issued less leases, he has withdrawn a lot of the leases.
Less leases.
As in the mining issued none.
Yes,
I'm saying issued none lease, right? Withdrawn, cancelled some of the leases that existed, but has the problem solved? Is the trajectory that way or this way? Where is the graph heading? It tells you that the leases is not the problem, because people who are giving lease are mining responsibly. That's why there is a law and they are mining and they have signed up to reclamation, they've signed up to all the co-minimis and they are monitored because they have a lease. The problem is not the multiple leases that were given by the MPP government. The problem is the illegal miners who the MDC in the communities told them that vote us into power and we'll let you do whatever you want to do. But something.
So talking about the leases or licenses, the statistics as we have them, 1988 to 2008, 40 had been issued. 2009 to 2016, 59 had been issued. 2017, when Akufo-Addo comes in and places a ban for over 20 months, 2017 to 2025, 2,151.
Yes. Yes, and you need it. Because if you do not absorb those working illegally into the legal structure, this is what you have. The problem between January and now, the escalation in the illegal mining tells you that if you don't contain them in legal leases and monitor them, they go outside and do it illegally. So what the MPP was doing was the right thing. Rope them into legal leases.
Have you heard the stories about small-scale mining literally turned Galamsey?
Yes, because
it's become sort of, is it a synonym or a pseudonym for Galamsey?
Yes. And you know why? Let me tell you why. Minerals Commission as the body of monitoring is not doing their work. If I give you a lease to mine, there's supposed to be a monitoring. That is why you've leased them. The illegal miner is basically washing and letting the water flow down the road, right? The guy with the lease, because they are not being monitored, is doing the same thing because it's cheaper. So, but you know who they are. With legal leases, the open pits, there is contractual obligation to close the pits after they've left because you know who they are.
How do you explain that for the near 2 years, when there was a complete ban on small-scale mining, that was the period that the country recorded the most export of gold mined through small scale?
So just oppose that with the last 8 months when all the leases have been withdrawn, right? So the point is, when you do nothing, the ban, period. The illegal, you can't ban illegal. We can't ban armed robbery. Can we? It's illegal. You can't regulate illegality. So illegality, when you ban it, will now surge. In the last 9 months, when nothing has been done to basically put forward all the things that the NDC said is the most effective things they will do when they come into power, because the failure to do any of those things, right, and all they are doing is withdrawing legal leases instead of monitoring what those people are doing and make sure they do the right thing. By withdrawing those leases, what does it do? The energy is transformed into what? Into illegality. So that is the problem. But Samson, the biggest problem underneath all these things, and I saw this when I was doing a bit of research, is weak judicial infrastructure.
Really?
Yes. A weak judicial infrastructure and a weak judicial system makes it difficult for offenders to be punished. We've heard Amak Boa saying that it's 1,500 people arrested. Today, where are they? In the mining communities, they don't care. You arrest him today, he gets bail tomorrow, he goes back to work the following day. So arrest is an ordinary thing, they are arrested. So the weak judicial system that we have, which does not give any punitive actions when people are arrested. I have sat on Joy and proposed 2 things that I think will clearly reduce Galamsey drastically. And what is that? Bring out law that incriminates the owner of the land that is used for Galamsey. Bring out law that incriminates the owner of an excavator. Because, you see, Galamsey is 150 years in this country. But in my town, Nananko and Asankregwa area, what our grandfathers and our uncles used to do, they use a saw and pickers to now put these sand in bottle, come to the village and wash it quietly in a corner. Today, because of excavators, the aggravated problems that we see in this country is largely because of the introduction of the mechanized mining which we have, which is the huge excavators coming in. So if the rich guy who has money to buy excavator is criminalized, if his machine is seen doing Galamsey, then the owner of the land, because I'm saying, me and you cannot go to Puado and enter a farm and start farming and start weeding. We'll be lynched. So if I can't go into a village, enter a farm and start farming, just ordinary farming, right? How can I go into a land without knowing anybody and start excavating that land? It tells you that there are certain level of complicity along the line. Right. The owner of the land is complicit because, look, like I said, I have huge tract of land in Nananko. People are encroaching on it. When you call them, they beg you and they stop for like 2 weeks. Then they go back because we are refusing to give the land to them for Galamsey. When you call them and send people there, they will retreat. But the land that are actively being mined, actively being Galamseyed, the owners are complicit. The owners of the Galamsey, the owner of the land is complicit. The owner of the excavator is complicit. So look, something, let's not beat around the bush. But my sister earlier said that, oh, NDC, MPP. And I said to her that, Madam Vicky Bright, the fundamental problem of this Galamsey is MPP, NDC. The politics is the problem. Because when one party stood and the president said that I will put my presidency on it, the other did the opposite. And today, he is in power for 9 months and nothing. Even a state of emergency that everybody agrees, not everybody, they themselves are the proponent of the state of emergency. On multiple occasions, in fact, on September 3rd, 2024, Akuyata Blackwad did a publication that was captured in Adom. If I read it to you, you will see the things that he is saying and naming people that he claims are the mastermind from MPP who are behind he used certain words that are killing Ghanaians. Today, I don't think anybody will believe that if you tell them that there are MPP campaigns behind Galamsey. I have said this in Kumasi. My friend is a lawyer and he went to one of the mining communities where these Indians sell Galamseys. And the Indian sell excavators. The Indian who was selling the excavator have seized the excavator from one of the miners because he has not finished paying. When the lawyer went in there and went and threatened him, when the Indian showed his partner to the lawyer just left. The Indian guy who's selling the excavators in the mining community, when the Indian guy showed his partner, if I mention his name on this platform, Sansi, me and you will not leave this studio. The national security will come for us. I land there for now.
Interesting. So you also mentioned excavator imports, and we know it is this government that is taking the boldest step to also once again ban excavator imports for now.
It's not been banned.
Because we were told that over 200 excavators enter Ghana daily. 200.
Ridiculous.
It's not been banned. They put a certain restriction in the...
I am imagining what they are used for. There's a lot of building construction going on in this country, eh?
No, the excavators are not used for construction.
And so we have these housing deficits. Okay, so yes...
we juxtapose them to the class.
Yeah, Prof, so help us. We'll go to the experts. We want to hear. I want them to listen to you guys before they come in. The president is saying, yeah, we are not there yet. And like Vicky said, she agrees, like Clara suggested last week, the Council of States, they also see if the president doesn't think we are there yet, it is their advice that the president has to use, even though the president is in the process the initiator of sorts, but they can also initiate it. And the advice is binding. They should also, get the president to do something. What is this security zones as to state of emergency?
All right, Samson, it's good to be here again, and good morning to your cherished listeners. It's quite interesting, because I thought that the gravy train of actually making this an MPP, NDC matter left the station a long time ago, and we had reached a bipartisan perspective of it.
No, we haven't.
When you were speaking, nobody interjected you.
That's fine.
Right? So,
but I'm just making up. We haven't got it.
No, yeah. So this is me having my opinion.
Okay.
Yes. So as part of the reset agenda, we are not in the business of MPP, NDC. We are on a national course. Right. And the president needs to take prudent measures in reaching a saturation of what would culminate in a state of emergency. I think that we are all using the term state of emergency very loosely, but that is a very heavy decision to make. Right. It is sort of a last resort, right, for an executive decision of a president and commander-in-chief to make. And that is sparingly used on the advice of, National Security, Council of State, Army commanders, service commanders, among others, and experts. Now, this is what I'm thinking in terms of, this is me trying to get into the president's mind. If I get into office to tackle an issue, hydra-headed, multifaceted in terms of trying this approach, which has been long-standing and predates my government, 8 years standing, we had what it was as far as Galamsey issues were concerned. If I come in and I go for the topmost heavy decision to take as a president, which is a state of emergency, what kind of leadership would I be exuding in trying to solve a particular problem?
Because government is a continuum.
It's a continuum, yes.
And we got to a point where we knew that we had exhausted all the tools.
All the tools, yeah. But this is what I'm saying. This is a hydra-headed beast.
And it's time-bound.
It's time-bound, right?
Because security zone, do you know how different that is from red zones declared?
No, I'm coming in. I'm going to talk about the security zones among other issues because I see a step-by-step approach here as far as the president is concerned, where prudence is applied. Because if you say, constitutionally, he's bounded by the 1992 Constitution, the Public Order Act, the Emergency Power Act, and the executive instruments to initiate these heavy decisions that he needs to. Now, when we say, possibly you lawyers may ask of a threshold of what determines a state of emergency, that is something very discretionary because it's vague as to what, even though...
It's not vague. I just read it.
Yeah, when I say vague, I mean the latitude is wide, right? We did understand that.
It's not vague. It says the circumstances under which a state of emergency may be declared under this article include a natural disaster.
Yes.
And any situation in which any action is taken or is immediately threatened to be taken by any person or body of persons which is calculated or likely to deprive the community of essentials of life or renders necessary the taking of measures which are required for securing the public safety, the defense of Ghana, and the maintenance of public order and of supplies and services essential to life of the community.
Yeah, so that's what I'm coming to. You look at the latitude of it. So a lot has to be put in place. Now, if the president was sitting idle and had never taken any step in the last 9 months since assuming office, then would say, okay, well, go for your last resort. But here's a case he's putting prudent measures. Something that has been existing for a longer period of time, you don't take one day or a particular decision that feels that that would be the end of it. Now, if we even say we're going for a state of emergency, how long would this going to last? How long could it be contained, among other issues? So can we exhaust some practical steps leading up to a state of emergency? Now, what are the practical steps that are being exhausted as of now? We're talking about, 1,400 illegal miners arrested in the last 8 months. That is quite significant.
His promise was to arrest the kingpins.
The kingpins, yes.
His promise was that he would rather free these hangers on.
But 9 months, if you start to arrest 1,400, you're snowballing to the kingpins. Because you can't go for the kingpins out of isolation. The connection to the kingpins are the limbs. Right. So we talk about 440 excavators and champagne machines seized. But the fundamental question I ask myself is...
The NPP era for the cumulative period had arrested 850, and out of that number, 76 have been prosecuted and convicted.
You see, I don't even want to make this comparison. The people of Ghana would, because I said the politics of NDC MPP, that gravy train left a long time ago. We're approaching it a bipartisan perspective as far as our research agenda is concerned. So I'm not even going to throw the numbers of 1,400
arrests in 9 months.
Yes.
As against 850 in how many years?
In 8 years. It's up to you. The jury is out there to judge. We leave that to the court of public opinion.
76 prosecuted and convicted.
Yeah, but we're talking about 9 months. You know what
the 1,400. You don't know how many will be prosecuted.
But you know the prosecution takes a period of time.
But the president told us what the focus should be.
Yes.
It should not be on these workers. It should be on the kingpins.
On the kingpins. That's what I'm saying. But if you get there, how do you get the kingpins? You snowball from the workers to the kingpins because they were hired by someone. There's possibly a middleman somewhere who would also be an informant to who the real kingpin is.
Okay.
Right. And this arrest is the first initiation, right, that would snowball to the arrest of the kingpins. I keep saying the pinstripe mafia are the kingpins. And I agree with the president that these are the people we should go after. Right? They're probably not even in
These are the people he said he will release.
Yes.
He'll give amnesty. Okay, please go on.
Well, so I don't think that's what he really said. If you interpret,
He was exact.
right with the kingpins.
Nobody is putting words
No,
in
I
his
mean
mouth.
kingpins that he was going to give amnesty to kingpins.
No. Amnesty to these kinds of people.
Yeah, the ordinary people are seeing it as a livelihood issue, which is part of what do you call it? Our poverty endemic issues that we have as a country being faced, economic challenges. So I think that it's only prudent to say, okay, well, if I get you, you know the plea bargain regime, the issues even in law with society. If you can lead me to your boss, help us with get A, B, C, D, we would give some amnesty to you. So I just want us to contextualize these things. And if they get the amnesty now, retrain.
We're not contextualizing. We are redefining what the president
and
said.
Giving,
if he says that he will use the small fishes to catch the big fishes, then that's fair.
Yeah, that's fair.
Okay,
so, and if they retrain them, give them artisanal skills, and put them back to the economic chain, I think that's very important, right? So it was not really done in a bad light. It is done to actually streamline the system. Now, if anyone thinks that there's no correlation between proliferation of small-scale mining licenses and illegal mining licenses, then I think that's very faulty. Because when you have proliferation of small-scale mining, small-scale mining, as you said, the lines are very blurred. It's difficult to determine who is legal or who is illegal. So you issue more licenses, and you are regulating. Who are you regulating? You are regulating, imagine regulating 59 small-scale miners, and regulating 1,000 or 2,000. I'm quoting Joy's data here, in terms of licensing issue from 1988, all the way through to the period of 2025, right? Between 2017 right, and 2025, we're talking about 2,151, right? And it is instructive to note that since President Mahama assumed office, none has been issued, right? Between 2009 to 2016, this inclusive of the Mills Mahama administration and the Mahama 1 administration, 59. So if you're looking at this comparative level, managing 59 small-scale miners and managing 2,000 plus small-scale miners, in between, where could you find the gray areas of illegal mining activities? It's a 2,000 plus. So if you say there's no correlation, I'm really wondering where that is coming from. So this is the beast in the room. This is the elephant in the room. And these are the issues we ought to look and unpack from a very, non-partisan perspective and take a Batson perspective. As I sit in studio, I'm not ready to go NDC MPP. Let's speak to the issues. Now, over the last couple...
Because you have used it to gain power.
Well, I wouldn't say we used it to gain power.
Yes, you did.
Because we campaigned, right, on what we will do. And the steps are being taken by the president in what he should do.
Okay.
We're talking about excavators. We're putting stringent measures on how to...
Tell us about security zones.
Yeah,
and I'm interested in how different that is from like the red zones that
but I mean, if you look at security zones, right, what it invariably says is that there will be restrictions to these areas, right? That in and of itself mimics a certain state of emergency, if you like to say loosely with how we use the word, because there will be presence of security forces. There will be patrol of security forces. You just don't have entry and access, right? No thoroughfare, etc., etc. So there is clear restrictions as to what that should do. And these are the key variables. Any president or anyone with executive order or power to issue an executive instrument ought to explore, execute, and exhaust before you reach the saturation and full threshold of the discretion of what you would call a state of emergency. And I think that is what President Mahama is prudently doing.
You're talking about the list of things that were being done.
Yes.
After 1,000, you were moving to something.
Yeah, I was moving the turbidity of water level.
Okay.
Right, which is very important. I think that has been center stage in the discussion. Also, I think that the framing of that is very important. Because when you do that, and the efforts that have been put by the government of the day in the last 9 months, without a real contextualization and framing of it, again, it allows room for this partisan perspective, right, of risk packing the locomotive gravy train of NDC MPP. Why do I say this? When we say, turbidity of water, it can change rapidly, quickly. Rainfall can even affect that, right? Drainage issues can affect that. Runoff, discharge of water or wastewater can affect turbidity. The question is, the data sits with these water companies. In the last 8 years, what has been the various turbidity levels of water? Can we juxtapose that to see where the intensity of these stabilities have been, right? If we are able to plot these graphs to say, this is what has happened in the last couple of years, between X period and Y period, right, between A period and E period, then we're able to say, okay, well, at this particular moment, or possibly in the last 9 months, it has intensified than ever before. Then we are beginning to have a proper contextualized.
We have used one example of the PRA and the
Yeah. I mean, we can use.
But we know there are others where there has been an improvement.
Yes. So there are others where you have. What brings about the improvement? It is the effort by the government of the day. Right. So I don't think that this should be about NDC, MPP, or who campaigned on what. As a political party, we campaigned that, yes, we'll come in and help salvage this Galamsey problem. Are we not putting these steps in place? Are several measures not put in place? Because you look, I talk about all of these issues. When we talk about even the hydra-headed nature of Galamsey fight, among other issues, I'm saying if you look at gold production in this country, right, you look at what comes from small-scale miners and what comes from large-scale miners. There's such a stark production in terms of quantity. Now, where do these go to? The big channels, India, China, the UAE. What collaborative measures are we making with the high commissions and embassies of these countries to see how we can have fair trade gold, gold devoid of Galamsey, child labor, etc., in getting into the global value chain of gold trading? And this is where we see the Gold Board making several strides in trying to also eliminate this. And you saw the rapid nature with which we accelerated in setting up a bill and putting up a board for the Gold Board to get into action, and what it's been doing with these task forces in terms of supporting them. Something, again, you look at all of these issues, we should just not exist in isolation. I think that the multinationals ought to come. We're calling for a state of emergency as part of the tough draconian measures we are calling for. Can we, for the next 2 years, say they should channel their corporate social responsibility to fighting Galamsey? Let's ignore everything. Put it on hold on discretionary spending of what these multinationals think they want to do to have a good face. The greater face we want to have as a country is to curb Galamsey. So let's come together with AGI, the Chamber of Mines, and other stakeholders to say, look, for the next 2 years.
By that you mean they should channel their corporate social responsibility into alternative livelihoods? Alternative
livelihood, supporting security agencies, supporting government, and all agencies that are geared towards achieving, very less impacts of Galamsey.
Okay.
You see, when we talk about even small-scale mining, you look at those who are into the mining research areas. I'm sure our scientists would help us understand this. Within even the social facets, you would have multinational firms ceding off some of their unproductive yields, or they feel that they may not get much from if they invest into small-scale miners, right? When you do this also, you would realize that you have a lot of small-scale miners operating within these areas. So the more licenses you issue in this regard, it becomes difficult to determine who is legal and who is illegal. And mind you, the reason behind the law for small-scale mining, which is the sole preserve of Ghanaians and not foreigners, is that it is capital intensive. But we want to help our people get into the mining value chain and earn a livelihood, which is why those requirements has been reduced, and there have been measures to ring-fence and allow for Ghanaians to have full participation in that. Maybe it's about time we revisit this. We've probably outlived, or the law has outlived its usefulness. We have a capital market now. We have, various financial institutions, among others. We should probably find a way of getting Ghanaians elevated within the mining value chain.
All right.
So I think that there's a lot more to be done. The government is doing a lot.
Thank you.
We need to cut the president some slack. Let's stop that gravy train of NDC, MPP, and try to put a bipartisan approach to this.
Well, as we speak,
and part government at the back.
As we speak, some 10 districts in the central region are potentially going to suffer or are already suffering water shortages. 10 districts, and so people are looking for, urgency in the things that have to be done as the waters are being polluted. And as we have also heard, there are far-reaching effects of the illegal mining, And guess where it is happening? Small-scale mining communities. The water, fish, your contomere, tomato, pepper, tubers, mango, coconut, all of them, poison. We'll be right back to have the experts speak to us. We'll return to you once the experts also speak to us about what we are dealing with as far as our water bodies are concerned, as far as our food supplies are concerned, and what's happening to our bodies.
Informed by a recent media report that Ghana imports the highest number of excavators in West Africa and the second highest number in all of Africa. If indeed that is the case, one may ask, what thriving business in Ghana requires the importation of such huge numbers of excavators? If entrenched interests hide behind status and privilege, then we as lawyers have a moral duty to strip away the impunity that shields them. The rivers of Ghana cannot speak. The forests cannot do likewise. But we as custodians of justice must raise our voices on their behalf.
We want a ban on all forms of mining. We want a state of emergency.
Declare a state of emergency.
Just as we declared lockdown during COVID, let there be a certain declaration.
Yes, I think that national emergency be declared now.
And it is his responsibility to deal with Galamsey now.
I get very passionate when I talk about Galamsey issues, because I think the president has failed. And this is not politics. This is about leadership.
If this president will not do it, then we are hopeless. Because first of all, I actually thought that Nana Addo should have been the one man to have fixed this problem, because he wasn't standing for election anymore. He should have left with his name high. He didn't. This president is a one-term president. If for nothing at all, one of your closest people died. Omanuni is not a friend to the president. It's his brother. One of his closest confidants. If you can look, Mr. President, you can look at those children, you can look at Yahweh, all of them, you can look at those children, his wife, and still be superintending this thing on your own. Honestly, we must be met with some little honor. Even amongst thieves, there's honor. What is this? We lie. What is the turbidity that you found at
Kwenyako Waterworks? That is 94,800 NTU.
What was it last year when we were told that it was 14,000, all of us got up? What was it? Tell the people of Ghana.
So in that same vicinity, the same central region, in a different plant, it was 14,000.
Our politicians are dumb liars. They should stop it. We give you a mandate to serve us, to help posterity. We don't give you a mandate just to lord, enjoy the largesse of public office. Okay, at least give us our peace back through service. It was 80-something thousand last year, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, 14,000.
No, you found someone be 84,000.
Yeah, 84,400. That's now. That's the 6th of September.
The 6th of September, we have 84,000. What are we hearing? The only thing we had was 30-something thousand.
Yeah, it was 32,000 like 3 weeks ago when the Ghana Water Company boss went to visit. But when we went 6th of September, just 2 weeks on, after the president has spoken.
Central region is just a few minutes away from here. Just a few, as if our road were proper. In fact, Kaswa is central region.
And you know, the regional minister, when this happened, he was there. He said he wanted a state of emergency.
Did you see what Gabriela Tete said? She's angry. She's going to marshal her people to go and fight illegal miners. Gabriela, you're my friend. You're a very sweet person. Don't waste your energy. Go and fight your government. They have the power to control this. There's no reason. We sat here, we had ministers who are sitting in cabinet today who said that if a government was serious, in 1 week.
Yes, correct.
Did you hear that?
I heard it.
Yeah. Are they not sitting in government? What has happened to the 1 week? How many months now? Where we are now, it's not NDC MPP. It's the future of our children. It's the future of those children there.
Yeah.
Today, we are selling Kirkland water. Go to Cantonments, you find Kirkland water. Go to East Legon, you find Kirkland. Do you know Kirkland?
Tell me.
Costco US water.
Yep.
We find VOS is being retailed. So like the way we are importing water. Hey, we are importing water. It's not even Belacqua. It is not Vortic. We are importing VOS.
Right. So I was away in the course of a week, but I listened to Senor once, twice, and I wish that the politicians, the people at the Council of State, they will all feel that this is what is happening. I'm bringing on our experts to share with us more. I don't know, you must be tired of hearing all the things that are said about it. So, as I mentioned earlier, there was a freeze on issuance of new licenses, but as we understand, a few licenses have been issued, about 12 or so over the period in this new regime. Vic says that, please tell that man that we don't need to plot any graph of turbidity levels. It's over 94,000 now, and we are dying. We must solve the problem head on and stop drawing graphs. So that's direct to you, Prof. Then Angie says, I support Clara's assertion last week that the Council of State should trigger this state of emergency and the president will be bound by it. And she says, so possibly 30 million people see we are at a saturation level, including some of the president's own people. But he alone, plus a few, don't see it, eh? Okay, so we played you what Okujeto said before the elections, Sam George, Haruna Idrisu, the minister in charge of this sector now, what they said a while back. And suddenly it appears they are singing a different song now. Prince Henry in Koforidua says, every action that is being taken by this 8-month-old government towards the fight against Galamsey is yielding positive results. Hence, we should support the government to deliver. The fact is that the NDC, led by President John Maham's government, can't use 8 months to fix more than 8 years' menace. Galamsey has become a national security threat. What did you say? It has become what? A national security threat and must be tackled in a nationalistic manner devoid of politics. Okay, you just did that and you say it should be tackled devoid of that. Interesting. Suleimana Isifu, the researcher who also leads a CSO in this area, says, verily, verily, I say unto thee, to end Galamsey, we must unite in integrity, enforcing the law without fear or favor, restoring our lands through reforestation, providing sustainable livelihoods, and cherishing the rivers and soil as a sacred trust for generations yet unborn. Pass a law allowing the state to seize all Galamsey lands from the original owners. That's also far-reaching, and let's see how that also gets. I'll read one more message and then bring my experts on. The Ghana Coalition Against Galamsey want me to ask Prof. They say, what are you talking about? What has the NDC done with the kingpins that have been mentioned? Akonta Mining directors, the NDC MP for our wing, those the AG asked Iyoko to investigate. What has happened? So don't be telling us you are doing so much when we know that you are doing very little. Okay, so thanks for those messages. Let me now bring on our aspects. Professor Sampany is on the line, and we also do have We also do have Dr. Albert Kobina-Mensah. I'll start with Dr. Albert Kobina-Mensah because he will do a small presentation to bring all of this into focus for us. Doc, thank you very much for making time to join us.
Thank you so much, Samson. Please
go ahead and let's have you make your presentation and speak to the nation.
Okay, thank you so much. It's my pleasure speaking to you and my greeting to all the listeners and also the entire Ghanaian community. So I would like to make a short presentation. I'll make a short presentation.
Are you sure his line?
Doc, please go on.
Sure his line is good. His network.
Okay.
Doc, we can hear you, so go on.
Okay.
Okay. All right. I think Doc is trying to open his slides. President Mills said on June 2, 2011, that unless we fight this canker collectively, we will live to regret it. That's President Mills speaking at the Jubilee Park in Koforidua. So what are you thinking? Share your messages with us and we'll read them and share them with the rest of the world. Doc, go ahead now.
Thank you so much, Samson. And it's my pleasure speaking to you and the entire Ghanaian community. For us, scientists, we like to speak to the issues, and we always want to sort of take ourselves away from sentiment and emotions. So I want to present to us heavy metals in soils and also the food, our food, and as well as also some solutions that we can harness going forward.
Doc, go on.
So what are heavy metals? Heavy metals, they are for collection of predominantly what is called elements that exist in minute quantities and usually below 1 milligram per kilogram. And when they are more than this, they cause some deleterious health consequences. So then what are some of the examples? We have copper, you have zinc, you have iron, you have manganese. Those ones are essentially heavy metals because those ones are needed by man and also by plants. So those are essential. Then we have others that are non-essential, like arsenic, lead, mercury. We don't need them, and plant does not also need them. So even a minute fraction of it becomes concerning. Then what are some of the sources of these heavy metals? Naturally, we are in the soil, okay? Naturally, we get them from weathering of rocks, oxidation, and also, but then anthropogenic activities like abandoned mining sites, industrial pollution, indiscriminate and poor disposal of mine waste, all these things will lead to trigger the heavy metals become more concerning. But of course, they are already in the soil. But now, when the anthropogenic activities become concerning or becomes more, then they now are triggered. Then we can ingest this heavy metal. We can eat them through consumption of water. When we eat crops that are cultivated on polluted lands, then when we come into dermal contact with our skin, we can also get contaminated with some of this heavy metal. Then we can also inhale it. The breathing of dust and fumes can all expose us to heavy metals. Now, like we see in this example over here, this is the report we did in 2014, 2024, and we can see here where this is a Galamsey site. Now, it will release arsenic, cadmium, mercury, lead into the environment. Then now we can ingest it. Let me use the. So we can ingest it through accidental ingestion of contaminated soil, also through geophagy. Geophagy is the deliberate eating of soil. We'll look at it. Then through inhalation and dermal contact. then the human health impact will be borne. Then we can get access to, you can get effects with skin cancer, neurological disorders, kidney damage, respiratory disorders, cognitive malfunctions, deformities in unborn babies, and all that. Now, we have here, this is a typical example I brought to illustrate how much we love our rice. We'll be eating rice, but unfortunately, we'll be eating arsenic. Because rice and arsenic are like, they are like brothers. It is because of the condition under which rice is grown. Rice is grown in paddy fields, and paddy fields are usually, because they are anaerobic. Anaerobic means that they are waterlogged. So because of that, it facilitates the uptake of arsenic in rice fields. So that's what we have. Now, when you go to Bangladesh, we have a very serious cases with arsenic pollution and its effects, because their problem is actually arsenic contamination with groundwater, the parent material. So they have quite. So these are some of the examples of the arsenic poisoning from Bangladesh. Then we also know that lead is very toxic. Lead in young children, in adults, and in pregnant women. Lead is a non-essential metal, and so its minute fraction in the blood, in the brain, in the liver, in the kidney, all these things will lead to disastrous health consequences. Now, artisanal mining, as we can see, so you see the way they have actually stockpiled their waste indiscriminately, with no measures to actually stop it from polluting the environment. Then you can see at the top there, when it is haphazardly stored. Then you can see also from here, when artisanal mining, Galamsey, they just use the water and release it indiscriminately, with no attempt to actually safeguard the environment against some of this release. Then we have mercury. Mercury is one of the major elements associated with artisanal small-scale mining, and mercury is very toxic. That is why mercury, we have something called Minamata Convention. Minamata Convention is a sort of a convention that countries might sign onto in order to protect their citizens against mercury effect. So each and every stage of the artisanal small-scale mining, which is the Galamsey, where they go for the rock from the pit, then they bring it to this place, they grind it. Then over here too, we can see that they put it here on the smoothing board. Then after taking it from here, they will send it to, they will take it to a basin where they add mercury. Now after they have added the mercury is added to form amalgam with the gold particle. So the mercury will sort of, it will attract the gold particle, but then it is not pure. So they bring it here to refine it in fire. Then now as they do this, mercury is released into the atmosphere, which is elemental mercury. Elemental mercury undergoes what is ionization. It becomes charged. Then it will fall into the water body when it rains. Now, when it falls into the water body, it changes to what is called metamercury, where it becomes organic, and this metamercury actually accumulates in the fishes that we eat, and it causes something called biomagnification. Then we have here children who are playing in an arsenic contaminated mine tailing that has been abandoned. And I took this picture in 2018 when I was doing my PhD. So what is the problem? The first problem here, we did this work from Amancia West in Ashanti region. Now what we did was that we went for soil samples from Amancia West, then we subjected it to flooding. Now we can see the total element content of heavy metals in this artisanal small-scale mining soil in Amancia West. The weight average is 6.2. What we measured was around 10.71. So we say that the place is contaminated with more than 173, more than 1.73 folds. Then cadmium. Cadmium is also carcinogenic. You can see cadmium that we measured was more than 180 times the world soil average. Then you have mercury. Mercury, it was more than 1.74 folds than the world soil average. Then we also have here lead. All these things that are put over here are carcinogenic. lead is also of concern, but it's more than 1.16 folds than the well soil average. Then we also measured the content in the slurry water. The slurry water is the one like the one that's turbid, the turbidity water. Those ones that are looking like chocomilo. Okay. Then, so we compared whatever we measured to the World Health Organization standard. So we can see cadmium, the World Health Organization standard is 0.003, and what we measured was 11.67 times higher. Then mercury was 44.45 higher. Then arsenic was more than 66.7 folds higher. Lead was 3.0 higher. Then we also use it to cultivate. This year we use it from, this one was from PCA, and we wanted to see how when you use those sites that are contaminated with heavy metal for planting of what is called lettuce. So the soil here was cultivated with lettuce, and we have arsenic over there. The world soil average is 6.2. The arsenic that we measured in the sample was 2,562.76 milligram per kilogram. And this one is more than 413.33 folds more than the above the world soil average. Then cadmium, the level is world soil average is 0.02. What we measured was 3.57. This is more than 178.5 higher. Then we have mercury. Mercury was more than 4.38 higher. Then now let's see the lettuce, the plant. So this is now in the food. Now we have some reference limit. There are quite a number of reference limits that you can use. Now the mercury in the lettuce we measured was 2,562.76, which is more than 3,660.96 higher than the limit in food. And this was the fresh weight of the lettuce. This one is not the soil. This is the lettuce. Now, this one is chromium. Chromium was 27.58 higher. Now, mercury was more than 109.5 higher. Then lead was also more than 83.57 higher. Now let's see another group of plants which are medicinal plants. I did this work in 2021, and I was trying to take a look at how this toxic element or heavy metal accumulates in this.
Hello, Doc.
Yeah.
What you have just presented, how long ago did you do this research?
Okay, so this one was done. This one was done in 2020. I think 2019, 2020.
The figures you are showing us, 2019, 2020.
Yeah, they are in this paper.
What's your suspicion that this would have reduced or mitigated, or now it would have gotten worse?
Okay, so for me, I also tried various remediation measures. So this one that we use manual, we use iron oxide, and manual iron oxide was able to reduce the uptake of arsenic in the lettuce. But let me finish with the one that I'm presenting.
Okay, let's see if you can do that in a minute for us.
Okay, so this one is now this one was done in 2021. So we wanted to see the uptake in achampong, which is the Comonella oblata, this one. Then fen, then ejama, Kokode-Nwamase. This is Lantana camara, this is Urea. So we can see all these plants are medicinal, especially for achampong and ejama.
Right.
Now ejama we can see was able to uptake arsenic concentration up to 150 milligram per kilogram. Now Comonella oblata took into the shoot 1,200 milligram per kilogram. The root was 200. Now titanium also in achampong was somewhere around 250 in the shoot and in the root was 130. Now, we also have copper. Copper accumulation were also very much high. You can see a champion here, 750 in the shoot and 150 in the root. Then zinc. As for zinc, it is somehow as an essential heavy metal. So because of that, plant actually has a higher affinity to take them up. So, but then of course, when they become above a specific threshold, then that becomes a problem. Now, then they were also talking about the FDA was talking about ayolok, right? Now,
yes,
the ayolok that we eat, that the pregnant women eat, we did this work just this year. The act of eating ayolok, which is not food, is called geophagy. Sometimes we eat chalk, sometimes they eat sand, charcoal, all those things are disorders, they are called pica. So we can see a child here who is licking the finger, it's also geophagy. We can see ayolok over here, it was pictures from the UK in one market. So we wanted to see the heavy metals in this ayolok, those ones that are available and those ones that are total. So we bought ayolok from 8 markets here in Kumasi, in Wakwa, Asafo. We have Bantama, we have Central Market, we have Dinasi, we have Crofrom. Then we measured heavy metal total content. Then we also measured what is called the available content. Now let's see, I'll be brief here. Now these ones are total content of copper, cadmium, arsenic, nickel, and those things. Now, this was what happened with the health risk assessment. So we wanted to see the risk when children eat it and when males also eat it and when adult females, especially the pregnant women. Now the threshold over here is supposed to be 1. Now we can see that the threshold over here for ingestion is more than, even sometimes in children getting to somewhere around 1,000 in the ayolok. More than 1,000.
Okay.
You can see males also getting to. I mean, the threshold here, I must emphasize, is supposed to be 1.
Okay.
And yeah, so something I'll end here. Then these are the available content. So when we come to heavy metals, we have those ones that are total content, and we have those ones that are available. What is the difference? The difference is that the total content is the mass, the whole. Now the available content is the one that becomes bioavailable for uptake. The one that can actually be taken into the intestine and also into the bloodstream. So we can see here that from 10 or so to guapa, nickel content was very alarming. Chromium also was alarming. Arsenic, which man does not need it. You can see where it is, where the concentrations are.
Okay. All right, Doc.
Let me end here. So what we wanted to do was also now.
Okay, so right, that's you. You have been watching and listening to Dr. Albert Kokode-Nwamase, scientist with the CSIR Soil Research Institute. He's an adjunct lecturer, UMatt. He's author and soil pollution and remediation work that he does. And from what he's shown us, I know that the president watches this show. When presidents watch this show, and when they don't have time, they watch the repeat show. I know that all of you who matter, who need to know what is going on, this is research that is being presented to you. And Doc begins by saying, no, we do our work and we don't want to deal with the emotions. You tell me all of this and you say I shouldn't be emotional about it. I shouldn't get passionate about it. Dr. Sampene, thank you very much for joining us, Prof. Well, after listening to, Albert, I don't know whether I should be asking you this question again as to how much of damage Galamsey, the use of arsenic, lead, and mercury, which are non-essential heavy metals, how much of damage they are doing to us. He's giving us the averages that these should not go beyond. And you can see, we've broken the record. Like, you shouldn't be talking about it. So, Doc, speak to us. Prof. Sampine, please unmute your mic.
Okay, do you hear me?
Yes, please.
All right, thank you so much. In fact, like Dr. Kobna said, I also side with him. As scientists, we try as much as possible to dissociate ourselves from the politics that is usually done when it comes to situations like this. Sometimes I feel sad, and very, very sad indeed, when politicians come to sit on air and try to tell us who did what and who is doing what. It's so sad. In fact, it saddens my heart very well. But then, as scientists, we try as much as possible not to join the chorus, but except to do the right thing. So, like what you are saying, in fact, I'm also happy that at least the thing that I started has initiated a lot of research in Ghana now. People are going through and doing all manner of things. I initiated this in I think, 2019 or something. And now people are doing it, and it's actually collaborating with what I said earlier on, and that if nothing is done, we are going to be in trouble. Of course, people are talking about turbidity, and then the water company is telling us that they are using more iron. Iron is aluminum hydroxide. That is the full name, aluminum hydroxide. And this aluminum hydroxide, when taken for a long period, in fact, at higher concentration, it has a lot of what we call health effects. One of them is kidney. When you use iron, that's aluminum hydroxide that is used to purify the water, especially when they are using that concentration, which I believe is so high, is going to cause kidney problem, is going to cause irritation in the respiratory tract, is going to cause what we call Alzheimer's disease, that neurological defect. All these things are things that have been proven, has been studied and proven to be as important that we have to be very careful about. Now, these Galamsey, apart from the effects that we are seeing around, the next thing is drowning. Drowning. These abandoned pits collect a lot of water, and children, for some reason, would like to go and swim in them, and then in the attempt at swimming, they get drowned. In Kokode-Nwamase alone, I think 2019 to 2021, I carried out a research by going through the data in Kokode-Nwamase. And then I was trying to compare the profile of unnatural deaths in the Ashanti region, especially the northern part of the northern sector. What it showed me was that drowning alone took, in fact, the total was 2,470. Drowning alone was 40%. In fact, I would say that road traffic accident took the highest number. Poisoning and so forth were there. But then drowning alone was 40%. And out of the 40%, the ones that came from Galamsey abandoned pit alone was 25%. The rest were those that got drowned in normal, maybe they went swimming in the normal waters and then they get drowned. Or probably, and so what we are trying to say is that, in fact, now as we speak, I'm also doing another work, and the work is about what we call spontaneous abortion. And in some hospitals, where women, out of something that they have not committed, go to the hospital, or for reason being that they've seen blood spotting, that's what we usually call spot. And then these women go to the hospital only to abort the babies that they've actually impregnated, they've been pregnant with.
Sorry, Prof. You said spontaneous abortion.
Spontaneous abortion.
That
yes.
Abortion is unintentional. Is
unintentional.
That
yes,
okay.
Exactly. These women are now, in fact, I have about 500 cases where women have gone to the hospital and abort their babies because of concentration of these heavy metals in their placenta.
Hey.
And so, oh yes, sometimes it's so saddening, it saddens my heart, like I said earlier, that when we see politicians trying to equalize or trying to trivialize the whole thing, it's so sad. And of course, it's something that people are playing with. In fact, for me, I'm not interested whether the government or the president will declare state of emergency. But the most important thing is that the Galamsey activity is really killing us. It's really, in fact, kidney diseases I think recently Kolebu also came out to actually show some data where they told us that non-communicable disease has started, surging. What it means is that some of these things, like these heavy metals, go deep into destroying the cells, causing what we call systemic inflammation, leading to chronic diseases. Do you understand? So all these hypertension that has gone up, what do you call it, diabetes, just mentioned asthma and all those things. All these diseases I don't know whether Kolebu tried actually to find out why the reason for that, but I don't know. But it is noted that all these heavy metals can cause chronic disease, and chronic disease or systemic inflammation in any form can lead to all these non-communicable diseases that they've actually made mention of. And so basically, Samson, apart from spontaneous abortions, now we are talking about what do you call it, skin diseases. We are looking at GIT, that is vomiting, diarrhea disease, and all those things. These are things that are rare. They are things that people are saying. A lot of doctors, friends that I know, they come, some of them call me from Pristia, Bogoso, Wase Kupon, Bibiani. They tell me that, look, doc.
These are the mining areas.
Exactly. Ever since you brought attention to this, we have been recording a lot of deformities in babies. Of course, most of them are afraid to come out because they fear for their life. Most of them are private, hospitals that these women go to deliver those babies. Those that sometimes they lay hands on, they go and bury them or they incinerate them. So basically, it becomes very difficult even to get more of these samples to examine. Placenta, the one that the child needs, the child uses to feed through, from the mother, what is happening is that the placentas are all contaminated. They are all polluted with heavy metals. I have about 4,500 placentas that I've examined. The concentration, of course, Dr. Kokode-Nwamase has taken a lot of the time, so I cannot also show you some of the data
You have examined real, actual placentas, over 4,000 of them.
Yeah, over 4,000 from different regions in Ghana here, where you see heavy metals in the cord and then the placenta itself. I'm talking about the cord that supplies that gets the nutrients, and then the baby gets it through the mothers. We have the maternal side and we have the fetal side. All these things have heavy metals. But then my worry once again is that if we continue to play politics with it, do we have what it takes to even solve the kidney diseases that is coming now? Now dialysis, very expensive, and nobody gets it for free. And children in a lot of hospitals, in fact, I'm doing another research with the nephrologist at Confanoche, and he tells me that, Prof, the number of cases that are from children, chronic kidney diseases, is also surging. And so these are the rare things that we have to consider. Actually, I would have wished that the main political parties, the two of them, NDC and NPP, will come together and say that, look, enough is enough, because whatever it is that we are doing, whether we are trying to downplay the whole thing, or we are trying to use it as a political capital, it will not help anybody. We should be very serious about it and solve this problem the way it's supposed to. In fact, we have to actually tackle this in headlong. Otherwise, I've said it time without number. I think I've spoken to you some years ago that if care is not taken, there comes a point where you see a human being walking, but the brain, the cognitive impairment is so high, this autism and all those things that are coming up. Inhalation of mercury affects your brain and affects your nerves. It affects everything. Inhalation or ingestion of mercury, or inhalation or even contact with it alone is a problem. So if you look at what Dr. Kokode just said, you realize that we are seriously in trouble. So please, if there is a chance where we all can come together, if there is a way, the governments, those who feel that they want to tackle, call all scientists, people who have done work on this. Let us see means by which we can mitigate it. If the child is at risk, let us see how best we can mitigate it so that the child will survive and probably live a quality life one day. Otherwise, if you continue to say that this person tried this, another person has said this, and therefore we are using this political thing, I think, like he said, I don't want to go into that politics. But then I'm pleading with all these political parties that we are in trouble and let us come together to solve the problem.
Thank you very much, Professor Sampini. Thank you once again. Dr. Kobina speaks, and all you read from what he says is that as a people, we are dying slowly. Then Professor Sampini comes in, and these are people who have investigated, they've done research. You know, Professor, if you are here, you understand the importance of, research. And he's also telling us actual things. I deliberately asked him whether he meant he had examined real placentas, so that somebody will not misunderstand him. Real placentas, over 4,000 of that. Okay, so
Samson,
yes, he says that.
Yes,
he says that.
Let's not do the politics.
He says that we shouldn't do the politics and all.
Right.
All the parties should come together.
Yes.
Let me start with Vicky Bride. President Mahama looked us in the eye in the campaign. The reason many people would have voted for him was that he said, Akufo-Addo has the power to stop Galamsey. He hasn't stopped it. Vote for me. I will get the power. I will stop it. That's not doing politics. That's simply demanding clean water. That's demanding life, as we have understood now. So, will we be doing politics if we ask for that?
Not at all. I mean, I'm shocked. I was even tearful watching the program, because as a mother myself, as a human being, as a Ghanaian, on every level, it's just not acceptable. And as I said at the beginning, our children, it's really a slow death sentence for our children, and the statistics and the research by the experts have actually proven that. I mean, now we're learning you can't even eat jollof because the rice and the arsenic, what did the prof say? That they are like cousins or brothers.
Yeah.
Because of the way rice grows. And
he was showing the measurements.
And he was showing
some of them almost over 100,000 times higher than the average.
So people are now walking around with lead in their brain, blood, liver, kidney, the arsenic poisoning, mercury poisoning. I mean, what does it take? What more? How worse can it be? We are really at the end of our tether. So I would plead with the Council of State and with the President to save Ghana, to save us, because I believe that the state of emergency is the only signal, as I said at the beginning of our discourse, that matches the scale of the crisis. And this has confirmed that assertion, as far as I'm concerned. And the fight is not about NPP or NDC. It should not be about, it's Ghana versus extinction. That's how I see it.
Ghana versus extinction.
It's Ghana versus extinction. That is how I see it. If we don't stop it, our river bodies will continue to be polluted. And the rate of pollution is now accelerating very, very rapidly.
It's giving us figures, research figures from 4 years ago.
As I said, I was tearful.
Research figures from almost 10 years ago.
Yes, and look at where, I mean...
And the situation has gotten worse, really.
It's gotten worse, and so that must have been when we had the 49, whatever. 14.
Stability levels.
Yes, I was even talking about the mining leases.
Okay.
And now we are 2000 and whatever, and I think we'll lose our rivers, we'll lose our food security, we'll lose our self-respect as a nation if we don't tackle this, and we'll lose the soul of Ghana. It will destroy our nation. That's where we're headed. It is a fight that we have. I mean, we're winning it on paper with all sorts of, sometimes things come from the political side. And I know that the minister is trying. I know that he cares. I know he's trying, but it's gone way beyond that. We're way, way, way beyond that. And when you look at legal mining, I mean, Newmont, for example, reported that they've paid 6 billion cedis between January and June this year alone. So there's money in legal mining. That's where we should be looking. That's what we should be harnessing and supporting. You know, I mean, we
small-scale gold mining export through the appropriate means has earned us also 6 billion in the last 6 or 7 months.
Yes, yes.
Only Newmont has posted in almost the same figure.
One company.
Yes.
One company. There's Perseus, there's all of them, the big boys in the mining industry. So, I mean, children are drowning in mining pits. Come on. You know, we are all parents here. Children are drowning in
those who are
pits.
lucky to be born.
Those who are lucky to be born without defects.
Yes. And those who are not being born with defect.
Yes.
They are born with defect, they are incinerated, they are buried in the hospital.
And just like
Professor
that.
Sampene is talking about it.
Yes, and the placenta. I mean, the placenta is what gives life to a child. It harbors all the nutrition and everything between the mother and the child. And that itself is being poisoned.
It's become a container for metals.
It's now become a container. It's become a death trap. It's become the placenta, which is supposed to give life, has now become a death trap for our children, our unborn children. Come on. Enough is enough. Enough is enough.
Much money.
Enough is enough. You know, so Mr. President, I know it's a heavy political tool, but we are begging you from the depths of our soul to help us and help these unborn children, these children who are deformed, and let life be restored to our river bodies and again.
Could you?
Yeah, Samson, quickly, I think Joy FM has their own data. Minerals Commission seem to have a different data. Somebody sent me, and I've actually sent it to your phone, data that Mineral Commission presented to Parliament on mining leases that exist. From 2012 to 2016, it's 1,402 mining leases. 2017 to September 30th, 2024, 1,014 mining leases. Up to date, it is only 984 mining leases that are active as we speak. That's data from Mineral Commission.
So this data, as was shared in the course of the elections, have never been disputed. Have never been disputed, and they were sourced from the right sources. That by 2008, we had 40 licenses. By 2016, we had 59 licenses, and by January 2025, we had 2,151. They remain undisputed. If anything has changed, we can deal with that.
Well, that's fine, but I'm saying that the Minerals Commission basically presented a document to the Parliament Governance Assurance Committee, and that's the data that I'm putting out there.
That's fine.
1,400. So I think
let's talk about what the experts.
Look,
I've heard the experts.
I've heard the experts, and you see, yes, chikasem. You see, unim baby au free bar, baby auko. The NDC wants to have this a unity conversation. And why our experts to understand why Kujupoku started from where we are coming from and where we are heading to is the inability of the NDC to tackle the problem. So I'm not politicizing it, but I was just giving a background.
First, what do you say about what the experts
It's
have
scary.
revealed?
Look, I actually whispered to you that, did you bring this man to scare us? I actually said it, right? Because it's scary, right? Because now you are
it's scary, but it's the reality.
It's the reality, and we have to deal with it, right? Who deals with it? The president, the one who took the Afana and swear to us. And you said he'll probably watch this program. But when he sits in that room to make a decision, guess who's around him? His political advisors. The impact of your decision on the ground. How will they affect you politically? You see, people keep forgetting that. And they say, don't bring politics into it. But unfortunately, his very being is politics. He has 276 constituencies. He has constituencies that he's won for the first time. He has people that will call him and tell him, look, Masa, if you take this decision, Yamutu, forget your presidency. He is not going again. Somebody else has to go. But the boldness of an individual, and that is where I gave the background to what Nanado did in 2017, the boldness of what the MPP did. I'm not doing politics with it. But, Samson, I have a favorite saying, I think I've said it on your program before. He who comes into equity must come with clean hands, right? If we are to unite with the MDC and fight this, are they coming with clean hands? Obviously not. That is our problem. Because at the community level, they are doing the politics of Galamsey. That is where the problem is. So the scientists might not like me giving the background and talking about it, but the problem is that all the scary things that we've heard, the miscarriages and all these things, it becomes a problem for us because somebody has to take a firm decision. You are saying that the Council of State is an advice. The president can choose. When this thing came up with the Chief Justice, we've heard that you, the legal experts, are telling us that Council of State advice. Yes, it said that they should advise. But it's an advice.
No, that's where the law says in consultation with. But where in the Constitution it says you must act in accordance with the advice. Right. That one is binding.
It's binding. Okay. Yeah. So then maybe they should call him to a room and say, look, my brother.
The Council of State is a place where our elders sit, right?
Yes. And so they should.
Do they know what is going wrong?
And the chiefs and everybody are there. So they should call him to a room and say, my brother, look, this thing, forget what the politicians are telling you. Because if you leave it with him to make that decision in the cabinet, all the political conversation will overwhelm the goodwill.
You see why some of us have been campaigning for abolishing of that chamber? They don't account to anybody anyway.
Well,
that chamber, that Kufuor wants to be elevated to an upper chamber, so that they continue to be a waste of the national purse.
Yes. So, my sister, let me end by saying that my sister Vicky Bright said something about the boldness of the people in the communities, right? We had Gridco. Now, the energy sector is going to be affected. So, because the transmission lines, there's gold beneath them, and people want to destroy transmission lines and mine gold.
And they are shooting at authority.
So, where is the boldness coming from? You think anybody who doesn't have power today is shooting at anybody? That's what the problem is. So, let's not make it look like it's got nothing to do with politics. It's everything to do with politics. Because the boldness of the people, as Madam Vicky Bright talks about, is what is behind him. Anybody today who is shouting at authority is shouting because he has a backing.
Dr. Adam Bona, Executive Secretary of the National Commissions on Small Arms and Light Weapons, he says, without the weapons, fighting Galamsey would have been easier. But once people now have access to weapons, the battle has become extremely complicated. It is the reason state authorities, these Gridco people will say our cables are under siege.
That's why I say it's hydra-headed. You see different angles and dimensions, health implications, security implications, among others. So it's really we listen to the scientists without even listening to them. Crisscrossing the length and breadth of this country during the campaign trail is harrowing. The sight. I have, my research over the years has been around community mining issues, right? And more so to look at the intersection between small-scale mining activities and large-scale mining activities, at least. So you look at how to solve this problem.
First, what's your commentary on the back of the research about the levels of arsenic, lead, and mercury, non-essential, that we don't need in our foods that are in there?
From what I have seen around, even driving around, Hone Valley area, right, within these mining enclaves, I don't even need this research to convince me, given though how harrowing it is. It is bad. There's no political coloration when it comes to drinking water. There's no political coloration when it comes to childbirth, right? What is even looking in terms of our health investment? We're looking at a heavy, from an economic point of view, a heavy health wage bill ahead of us as a nation.
Yes.
Right, so you ask yourself.
Those who need dialysis will increase.
Would increase.
Already we can't even pay for the dialysis.
So we're still trying to see how we can get machines into our district hospitals, into our polyclinics. Right, so what it tells you, but let's sit down and have a national conversation on this and say, look.
Exactly what we are doing. This is a national conversation.
A conversation and say, look, how much
we have to act now.
My point is, how much do you earn from this?
Vicky says act now. That's all that is needed.
Compared to the ravages that it leaves for years. Look at reclamation.
The president has the power.
Right? Look, sorry, I'm not really in the politicization of this. Let's deal with it from a national perspective. You can do your politics when you have the platform. What I'm invariably saying is that we need to be nationalistic about this. We need to focus as a nation, regardless of who has the power.
It's not we. Right? It is the one who has the power to do what must stop it.
Yes.
I don't.
The point, you also have your power.
Which is it?
And your power is that you are in studio asking the right questions. You run a program that gives advocacy. That is your power. So it's not an individual power. If you are resigning only this to a president, then I think we are all going to fail.
No.
Right?
Because the president
because we all have a role to act. Right? So what I am invariably saying or calling for is that what can we do to curb this situation as soon as possible? It's a matter of national emergency. And we've given the steps. In the last 9 months, like, look at the steps that have been taken. A certain president, the president we are asking to act, instructs his attorney general to write, to nominate a persons than his national party executives, that attention has been drawn to him, that this is happening, so they need to be investigated. That is a bold step for a president to take, and an AG to take, and by reflection, a cabinet to take. Right. Before the president took over office, a whole community in the Western region, Subri, emerged as a Galamsey community across the value chain. And your own reports have it, over 10,000 residents, and all of it within the value chain of illegal mining. It's been destroyed. We are not saying that these efforts are enough. And I agree with whatever the coalition is saying. Right. We are ready to hold hand in hand with the coalition and all the stakeholders that be, regardless of our party coloration, to curb this.
People are not excited about some of the signaling.
Yes.
And the Imani Pulse report shows the dissipation of goodwill.
We take that
also
in good stead.
On the fight against Galamsey, not only oral.
We as a government take that in good stead. It's great feedback to us.
The rhetoric was that you joined the clarion call for the repeal of the LI 2426, which was unfortunately passed November 2022, allowing people to go into forest reserves to mine.
Huge mistake.
We brought so much pressure on Akufo-Addo. He got his attorney general. They began the process to repeal that law. You said when you come, you repeal it. You came, we continued the pressure. What did you do? You amended instead of repealing.
The president, his last address, committed.
After how much pressure? I'm telling you the signaling, it's not good enough.
Which I concede that we as a listening government, we take the feed of the stakeholders. We take the feed of the scientists. We take the feed of what is happening around illegal mining, and we take the feed of the voice of the people. It is roaring, right? And the voice of the people is roaring in Ghana that we really need to curb this, right? And we are confident that as a government, and in support with key stakeholders against the fight against illegal mining, we are going to curb this. That I am confident.
Okay.
Quick one.
Says some Eson Jonah, Chancellor of the University of Cape Coast, says that the economy is not creating enough jobs and there is little opportunity for our youth unless we work hard to make sure that this economy is creating jobs. I'm afraid we will lose the fight. Alternative livelihood. The Deputy Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, Suleimana Yusuf, tells us what the security zones will mean. He says, we are going to have permanent military bases at vantage points of our water bodies and forests, so that as we flush them out, there is that presence there so that Galamseyers can't come back. And finally, the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, Emmanuel Amakofi-Boa, says that the Attorney General is ready. As soon as Parliament resumes, we are going to repeal LI 2426. We are focused on reducing the bleeding. So he understands that we are bleeding. This is Newsfile. It's your most authoritative news analysis platform. We take a quick break, and when we return, Yensuro Ehunahuna. Is it genuine, as it were, call for accountability when the MPP cries of selective justice being meted out to its officials? We'll be right back.